70 million people. 6 years. Every continent except Antarctica. This is the story of the deadliest war in human history, how it began, how it was fought, and how it changed the world forever. After World War I, Germany was burdened by crushing debt, national humiliation, and a shattered economy. The Treaty of Versailles stripped away its territory, limited its military, and forced it to pay massive reparations. Into this turmoil stepped Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party, promising revenge, national revival, and a return to German greatness. Throughout the 1930s, Hitler secretly rebuilt Germany's military before openly expanding it. He annexed Austria and then seized the Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia, while Britain and France hoped that appeasement would preserve peace. It didn't. On September 1, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. 2 days later, Britain and France declared war. World War II had begun. Germany relied on a revolutionary strategy known as Blitzkrieg, lightning war. Combining fast-moving tanks, aircraft, and coordinated infantry attacks, it overwhelmed enemy defenses before they could react. Poland fell within weeks. Soon afterward came Denmark and Norway. Then, in just a few months, the Netherlands, Belgium, and France also fell. Britain now stood alone. During the Battle of Britain, the Royal Air Force successfully defended the skies over southern England against the German Luftwaffe, preventing Hitler from gaining air superiority and forcing him to abandon plans for an invasion. Meanwhile, Italy and Japan joined Germany, forming the Axis powers, each pursuing its own ambitions of conquest. In June 1941, Hitler made one of his greatest mistakes. He launched Operation Barbarossa, invading the Soviet Union and breaking his non-aggression pact with Joseph Stalin. It became the largest military invasion in history and opened the vast Eastern Front, a battlefield that would eventually exhaust and devastate the German army. Then, on December 7, 1941, Japan attacked the American naval base at Pearl Harbor. The following day, the United States declared war on Japan. Just days later, Germany and Italy declared war on the United States. The conflict had become truly global, stretching across Europe, North Africa, the Atlantic, and the Pacific. Behind the front lines, the Nazi regime carried out one of history's greatest atrocities. Through a systematic campaign of persecution and mass murder, 6 million Jews were killed, along with millions of others, including Roma, disabled people, political prisoners, and other groups targeted by the regime. This genocide became known as the Holocaust. Across occupied Europe, resistance movements secretly sabotaged German operations while millions of civilians endured rationing, curfews, forced labor, and constant fear. By 1942 and 1943, the tide of war began to turn. On the Eastern Front, Soviet forces achieved a decisive victory at Stalingrad, surrounding and destroying an entire German army. In North Africa, British and American forces defeated the Axis armies before launching the invasion of Italy, leading to the collapse of Mussolini's fascist government. Meanwhile, in the Pacific, the Battle of Midway devastated Japan's aircraft carrier fleet and shifted naval superiority to the Allies. From this point forward, the Allies were advancing on every major front. On June 6, 1944, D-Day, Allied forces landed on the beaches of Normandy, opening a second front in Western Europe. Over the following months, Allied armies advanced toward Germany from the west while Soviet forces pushed relentlessly from the east. By the spring of 1945, Germany was collapsing. As Soviet troops closed in on Berlin, Adolf Hitler took his own life inside his bunker. On May 8, 1945, Victory in Europe Day, or VE Day, Germany officially surrendered. The war in the Pacific, however, continued. Island by island, American forces fought their way toward Japan in some of the war's bloodiest battles. In August 1945, the United States dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Days later, Japan surrendered. World War II was finally over. The war claimed more than 70 million lives, soldiers and civilians alike. Cities across Europe and Asia lay in ruins. Entire nations faced the enormous task of rebuilding. Old empires declined, while two new superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, emerged, beginning a decades-long rivalry known as the Cold War. From the devastation came new efforts to prevent another global catastrophe. The United Nations was founded to promote international cooperation, while the Nuremberg trials established the principle that leaders could be held accountable for war crimes and crimes against humanity. World War II didn't just reshape borders. It reshaped the modern world. The political alliances, technologies, international institutions, and global tensions that define our lives today all bear the legacy of this conflict. Its lessons continue to remind us of the terrible cost of war, and the importance of protecting peace.